Bear Don Bears fans, who'd have thought we'd be making a Bears video here, but the Bears bringing some news out as reported by Jay Glazer. Bears reported to be big players in the quarterback situation. So the question is now on the table. Who are they going to go get? I'm going to give you 5 quarterbacks the Chicago Bears should look to trade for this offseason, and it starts right now. If you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell. So, Chicago Bears looking to acquire the quarterback possibly of their future, but probably just a bridge guy until you can draft a guy. But Ryan Pace has to go out and find somebody who can get him wins this season, next season, until he can go out and fix the mistake he made with one Mitchell Trubisky. And so I am going to give you 5 guys that I think fit that bill or could be your long-term quarterback in the future. Now, number 5 on this list for me is Matt Stafford, and not for the reason that many may think. No disrespect to Stafford's game, no disrespect to anything he does. Listen, Matt Stafford to me has proven that in a bad situation he can make it happen. I just don't think it's a very realistic trade to think that the Detroit Lions are going to give us their starting quarterback so that he can come in there and kick their butts twice a year. We've already been doing that, you know what I'm saying? But I think that Stafford would fit well with what we're trying to do here. He's a guy who can navigate a poor offensive line. He's had to do it most of his career. He's a guy who does have that talent, who is talented enough to lead you down the field. Heck, in the fourth quarter, he's one of the best quarterbacks who can lead a drive to get you back into a game or to win a game for you. And so Stafford has done some good things up there in Detroit, and with them parting ways, you would like to be able to try and get something in. I think you need to at least pick up the phone, Ryan Pace, and give him a call. But I don't expect that to be a realistic move, in my opinion, because I don't see the Detroit Lions trading to the Chicago Bears. We rarely see interdivision trades like that where they're big trades, you know what I'm saying? Usually you'll see a free agency signing where somebody goes over, like we got they got Adrian Amos, which that trade seems to work out in their favor a little bit better. But you usually see it like that in the free agency where one guy signs somewhere. You're not going to see a lot of trade moves. So Stafford, to me, interesting piece. Somebody I would absolutely love to see in a Bears jersey, especially with the influx we have at the offensive line right now. I think as a leader, as a player, he would be able to navigate that well. Do I think that he's a guy that if you bring him in, all of a sudden A-Rob's like, yo, I would love to come back here and sign here? Probably not. But, hopefully they'll be able to work out that deal on the side. Anyway, it's not looking good, but hopefully we'll see. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know you guys' opinion, man. Who do you think the Chicago Bears should acquire this offseason at the quarterback position? Should they trade for at the quarterback position? Or do you think they should trade somebody for something? Now, what would it cost to get Matthew Stafford? Stafford's a little bit older in his career, but still gives you some good production. But I don't think that it's a break the bank kind of deal. You could probably send over you honestly could probably send over Nick Foles. More than likely, they're going to want your first round pick because, like I said, Stafford's still giving good production. They're going to want your first round pick for this year and probably a third for a future, maybe next year, a year after that, something like that. That's probably what it would cost to go out and get a Matthew Stafford. QB number 4 on my list, as crazy as it is that we're here, it would be Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, Jimmy G, here's the thing. A lot of money coming attached with Jimmy G. And to me, really, Jimmy G is just pretty Mitch. He's a pretty Mitch. You know what I'm saying? And that's not calling him the other thing. He's literally Mitchell Trubisky, but he's got better hair. Like, that's literally all it is with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo can play better than we've seen, but he still has those issues that a lot of these young quarterbacks who've been in these similar systems have had. Now, like I said with Garoppolo, he's coming with a ton of money attached, making $24 million a year. But the thing is, you've got him locked up for the next 2 years. And if you're going to find somebody who can just kind of work their way through a system, who can be a piece that can be competent but not great, that is Jimmy. Is he better than Mitch? I'll give him that. I think to call him pretty Mitch is a little harsh. I think he's a better quarterback than Mitch is, but I don't think he's the guy that gets you to that next next level. But if the Bears are thinking, okay, we're bringing in Sean Desai, let me get this defense back in order. Let's get us back to that championship caliber level. That's kind of what you're hoping for here. You're looking for a guy who can be a placeholder until you find your future. Jimmy Garoppolo, 29, still young, but I don't think he's the quarterback of your future. I think that he's a bridge guy for $40-something million a year. That's an expensive bridge guy. Hear me on this, though. If you make the trade for Garoppolo, you go out and you get yourself somebody who can come in and I think at a minimum comprehend the system that they're trying to run. I think at a minimum comprehend the system that you're trying to run. And you're not getting a guy who's a complete statue. Is Jimmy going to take off and have the wheels? No. He has a little bit better pocket presence, understands when the pocket's collapsing, hey, I can take some steps here, I can run here. Not saying I want to see him do that every play, but I think that that's going to be something that the Bears are going to need in a quarterback coming into this season, because without that guy that going to have the presence of mind to realize, okay, the pocket just broke down on this side, or they're rushing up the middle, I need to make this move here, then you're gonna be in trouble in that situation, because you're coming in more than likely with a lot of the similar linemen that you had this season, probably bringing in a few rookies you'd hope this year. And so it's still gonna be, it's still gonna be some up and downs on that offensive line. Hopefully, if that's able to improve, if you are able to acquire Jimmy G, he's somebody that can come in here, he can read the defenses and make the simple passes. I mean, that's something that if we can see that continue down the road, I'm fine with that. The only part I'm not fine with on Jimmy Garoppolo is the price tag that's attached to him. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I really see the Bears making a run at Jimmy G because they didn't make a run at him before. You know what I'm saying? This would be such a Bears move to me. Now, the only thing to me with Garoppolo that really is appealing, that I'm like, okay, I don't think it would take much to get him because he's had the injury issues. I think you could probably go get Jimmy G for a second and a third, maybe, or maybe just one of the two, because it seems like the 49ers have really distanced themselves from him. So I think that you could actually go get Jimmy G for a reasonable price. Now, you've got to pay him when he gets here. I mean, what is it? I said 24. I think he counts 26 against the cap. I think essentially it's $50 million over the next 2 years, a little bit more maybe, or a little bit less against your cap. But what it would cost to get him would not gut your team, and I think that that's something that the Bears should absolutely look into. Now, number 3 on the list for me, Jared Goff. Another guy that is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of, everything I literally just said about Jimmy Garoppolo, you kind of can say about Jared Goff. Another guy who's been a one-read guy, who's had much more success than either Mitch or Jimmy Garoppolo, and is coming off of a season that has been more consistent, more successful, and looked like a better quarterback at time. Looked like he was making the right reads at time, but we know when that pressure got around him, it was not pretty. And so, is that something that you want attached to you? Now, I think you bring in Jared Goff because you feel that's those same things like I said about Jimmy G. You feel that he can be a guy who comes in, who is a placeholder at the quarterback position, that if you can protect him, he can be a guy that can go out and score touchdowns and move the offense down the field. Does that mean that he is going to be Aaron Rodgers? Does that mean that he is going to be Deshaun Watson? Absolutely not. Pat Mahomes? Absolutely not. But it means that, once again, you're relying on your defense to get this thing done at the end of the day. You're hoping that your defense is able to return to that championship form that we saw early in the season, somewhat, but really the 2018 season. But I think even if they were that more of a bend but don't break style defense, you know what I'm saying? Just getting them back to that level, you're thinking, all right, we literally need a quarterback who can be a placeholder, who can stand there and move this offense down the field. And I think that we're going to go much more run heavy with David Montgomery than we saw last year, but more so what we saw in the last season, because David Montgomery seemed to be able to get it going going. And with a run game, Jared Goff is not bad. If that run game's not going and you have to rely on him alone, it's scary. But with a run game, he's not a terrible quarterback. He's somebody who you can put back there and he can be useful. Now, the numbers attached to Goff are terrible. He's making about $25 million a year. And on top of that, they do have the contract kind of set up where next season he gets $10 million. And so that could be something that the Bears are able to work with. That's a moment where you can get somebody in there, get some help in there. But I mean, listen, a lot of money attached to Jared Goff, a lot of money attached to Jared Goff. And so if you bring him in, you're not bringing him in as a short-term option. You're bringing him in, I believe he signed through 2025. You're bringing him in probably throughout the duration of that contract, but you're hoping that he's a guy who can win you enough games for Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy to keep their jobs. I'm saying that that's what they're hoping up there, to keep their jobs. And in that time, you draft your next quarterback and allow him to develop while Jared Goff is in the room as well, so that you don't have to just throw him out there like they did Mitch. But I mean, listen, you're trying to get your quarterback of the future, you're going to have to spend money. No matter, I keep saying a lot of money, but the thing is, it's a lot of money for guys that I don't think are worth the money they're making. Because there's some guys on this list that I'm going to say that are going to be worth that money. But I don't know if Jared Goff is worth the $25 million, but if it's a move that you feel you're going to make to get a guy in here who can be a placeholder and win you some games, help you win games, while the rest of like a team collective, but he's also helping you win games, then yeah, I'd make the move. Now, what do I think it would cost to get Goff? Listen, they haven't distanced themselves kind of how the 49ers have distanced themselves from Jimmy G. I think that a move for Jared Goff is still a move for you're trying to take away our starting quarterback. So it's probably going to cost you something similar to what it would take to get Matthew Stafford, a first round pick, your one of your quarterbacks, Mitch or Foles, and then probably another pick, a later round pick, something like that, a third or a fourth, something like that. But the thing for me is they still haven't fully decommitted themselves from Jared Goff. There was just that question at the end of the season where he's like, hey, look, we know what we saw this year. It is what it is. I don't know who the starting quarterback is next year. That all could have been coach talk. That all could have been speculative. Goff could be coming back next season. I think Goff still gives them their best chance to win right now. But maybe McVay thinks something else. Maybe McVay thinks there's a play out there where you can get rid of Goff, get something back, use it for a couple of years the same way you used Goff. And I think if you're going to find anybody who can do that, Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky could be that guy who, okay, let's just throw him out there because he's done a lot of the similar things that Goff has done. And let's move forward with that. You know what I'm saying? So do I think this trade's going to go down? Probably not. Probably not. But if I was looking at the veteran QBs out there, he would be one of the guys that I would say, okay, I'm not completely upset at this move. Go get him. Now, number 2 on my list. Number 2 is taking advantage of a bad situation to me. Number 2 is taking advantage of a bad situation to me because of the beef in Philadelphia. You've got Carson Wentz over there. The owner has seemingly chosen Carson Wentz over Jalen Hurts by the removal of Doug Peterson. Because it seemed like Doug Peterson, as crazy as it seems, wanted to go with Jalen Hurts. He saw the potential to move forward with Jalen Hurts, but Carson Wentz has that big money attached to him, so he should be the starting quarterback in the owner's eyes. We paid him this money. You came in here. You asked for him to get this money, and that seems to be what caused the split, as it's been reported later on after everything has gone down, just a difference in philosophy. Use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage. Now, it's going to cost you a little more probably, but if you feel that what you saw from Jalen Hurts this season was quarterback of the future-esque, go get him. Because this is not a move that you're making to simply go get a guy. This is a move that essentially, in your mind, you're drafting an NFL guy. You're trading picks to go get an NFL-ready guy. And I think Jalen Hurts was somewhat NFL-ready when we saw him out on the field. Did he have his ups and downs? Absolutely. But I think that he was better than most of us expected him to be, just being thrown into a situation like that. You're essentially making a move to trade up for a quarterback like you would in the NFL draft, like they probably would have to do going into the draft to try and find their quarterback of the future. And so do you think that Jalen Hurts is that NFL-ready guy, is the guy who can be your quarterback of the future? That's really what it comes down to. Now, did we see a ton of Jalen Hurts? No. It's kind of like how San Fran traded for Jimmy G. We didn't see a ton of him. We saw a little bit of him. He looked good in flashes, looked good in spurts, but the thing that Jalen Hurts brings, one, he's got the arm talent. I think the accuracy needs to improve a little bit. I think he had decent accuracy, good enough to get you through a season with him for sure. But the thing is, one, he's coming in on that rookie deal. Money's not going to hurt you as much. And the other thing here, mobile quarterback, somebody who can move, because we still got to fix this offensive line. I don't know if that's getting done in one off season. There's still some pieces that need to be put in place. And so a quarterback that can move is going to be key for this team. All the other guys I've said, they have limited mobility. Goff almost has no mobility. But limited mobility, you know what I'm saying? They can move around a little bit. They're not but Jalen Hurts can go. And that's the thing that you love about Jalen Hurts. That's the thing you want to see from Jalen Hurts, because the fact that he can go, the fact that he can move, use his feet, but it's not his number one talent. That's something that I looked at Mitch, and I was saying, well, you know, guys, our quarterback's best talent shouldn't be his legs. That shouldn't be the only thing we're able to rely on when we put him out there. And I think that Jalen Hurts could be a guy who, you're getting him in here young. You're getting a guy in here who already has NFL experience, looking to take that next step. Get him in here early. Get him into a training camp, whatever that's going to be due to the COVID system that we're playing in right now, and figure out what the right move is to get this guy on track to being your quarterback of the future. This is a trade where you feel this guy is your quarterback of the future. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's a trade I'd be willing to make. What's it going to cost? You're probably looking at your first round draft pick for this season. You're probably looking at another later round draft pick for this season, and possibly a later round pick in the future. Something that Philly can get in there and they can package that together, and maybe even sending back a quarterback, because they're going to be in the looking for a backup. Maybe even sending back a Nick Foles. You know what I'm saying? Maybe sending back a Nick Foles is something that they would have to have there, because they're going to want somebody in there who can sit behind Carson Wentz, who's been in that dynamic, that brings that room back together, that championship level room back together, and maybe they feel that gets Carson Wentz back on track as well, having that comfort in the room with him. Outside of that would be a move that I'd be very interested in the Bears going out and making. Doesn't cost you a ton of money, costs you picks, costs you a player, but not a ton of money, because he's still on that rookie deal. And then number one, to finish it off. Yeah, Whoa. I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in this picture. Sorry, went off on a tangent there. Number one for me, obvious, right? Deshaun Watson. Number one, Deshaun Watson. Now, will he waive his no trade clause to come to Chicago? I don't know. Does he feel that here's somewhere he can win? I don't know. Is he going to cost a lot of money? That I do know. Absolutely. Yes, whole lot of money. Is he going to cost you a lot of draft capital? Sure is. Is he going to cost you possibly a player? Probably Kyle Fuller, something like that, along with the draft capital. But it would seem that he has taken a hard stance in Houston, that he will not play another down for that team. And so they are going to be looking for more draft capital than anything to get him in there. And listen, the cap hit that he has against their cap, I believe it's like 26 mil, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna have to double check that, but I believe it's like 26 mil. It's a huge cap hit. Something that would thrash them for next season. You know what I'm saying? It would destroy them for next season, trying to go out and get guys. But if he is taking that hard stance to where I'm not going to play unless y'all trade me, I will sit here and do nothing, and you will lose and you will get nothing for it. Listen, here we go. What's it going to cost you? Probably 3 number 1 picks. You know why? Because he's that kind of good. And to Bears fans who are like, well, he didn't look that good when he came here and played us. Number 1 quarterbacks should be able to do this and do that and do this. Do y'all want a quarterback? Do you want a top tier quarterback? Do you want a top 10 quarterback? Heck, Deshaun Watson has arguments for top 5. Do you want the passing yards leader this season? With as bad as that team was, do you want the passing yards leader this season? Go out and get a quarterback, somebody who's competent, somebody who can run the offense, somebody who should have been taken by us instead of Mitchell Trubisky, and get the job done. It's going to cost you 3 number ones. It absolutely is. Is that going to gut your team moving forward in the draft? It sure is. But you know what teams aren't looking for stuff in the draft? Teams that have a number 1 quarterback and have things in place for that number 1 quarterback to be successful. Does this offensive line need some help? Yes, but you've got James Daniels coming back. You have Cody Whitehair. I think that you've got pieces there that can play. They're not going to get blown over as long as they're being stable. You still got to go out and find more pieces. I'm not saying don't fix your offensive line. You still have to go out and find more pieces. But we're picking 20, y'all. We're not getting a stud offensive lineman at 20. The only way you're going to do that is to bottom out, get rid of it all, blow everything up. Then you can go find you a stud offensive lineman because you'll be picking 2. But they're not going to do that. You want to make the quarterback a trade that's going to give you the best chance to win. And listen, we've seen Pace pull off these impossible trades before. Khalil Mack is a Chicago Bear. But if there's even an inkling in your mind that Deshaun Watson might be available and think about waiving that NTS to come here, you better be making that move. You better be making that call. You'd better be making that call. I'm not playing with y'all. But I am going to get up out of here. I want to know you guys' opinion, man. Let me know in the comments below. Who do you think the Chicago Bears should go after this offseason? They say they're going to be big players in the quarterback market. Who should they go after this offseason? You guys let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. I'm going to get up out of here. It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Click the link here or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Go get Deshaun Watson. Peace.